All right, welcome everyone to the final event for the Green Campus Challenge. My name is Madeline Smith, and I'm the program manager for MIT Denmark. I am so pleased to have you all here joining today, watching our final presentations for this event. And I want to just thank everyone for joining today. We're so grateful to our 6 finalist teams for their pitches and all the work that they've done throughout the challenge to come together for this event. But before we begin with introducing our incredible panel of judges, I just want to recognize all the hard work that every single one of these students put in to get to this point. They were innovative, both in terms of their ideas and the projects that were posed to us today, but also in working together. Doing an innovation challenge virtually is still a very new experience, and it's a lot different than a typical in-person hackathon. They have come together across countries, of course, between MIT and the Danish universities they're coming from, but also from around the world. We hope that these ideas can inspire our campuses to be more sustainable in both big and small ways. I also want to thank the many people and organizations that made this event possible, to everyone who served as a mentor, who helped guide these teams and inform their ideas, to the companies who joined us, including Ramble, Space10, Blue Lobster, Too Good To Go, EcoTree, and especially to Danfoss, our sponsor for the energy track, who joins us on the judging panel today. I also want to thank our partners, the Confederation of Danish Industri and the Danish Industry Foundation, for all their support of the MIT Denmark program and making events like this possible. So without further ado, I want to introduce our judges, or rather let them introduce themselves. In addition to their name and title, we've also asked them to share their own sustainability goal and superpower if they could have one, because that's something that we also asked to all of the students when they first joined in the Green Campus Challenge. So I'll start by just saying their names and then I'll let them take it from there. So Dr. Franklin Carrero-Martinez, we'll start with you.
Thank you very much, Madeline. My name is Franklin Carrero-Martinez. I direct the Global Sustainability and Development effort at the National Academy of Sciences. My superpower, I guess it's in the sustainability space. It's working with scientists, industry leaders, academic experts, and trying to make sure that everyone is able to talk and understand each other. In the challenge of sustainability, meeting everyone, wherever they may be, it's a huge challenge. And we use the platform that of the National Academy of Sciences here in the United States to have dialogues, conversations, and bring everyone together so that we can have a better, greener, and more sustainable world for everyone. Thank you again, Madeline, for the invitation.
Thank you very much for joining us. Next, we'll have Kinga Christensen. Please introduce yourself.
Thank you. Hello, everybody. My name is Kinga Christensen, and I'm part of the executive management at DI, the Confederation of Danish Industry. We work very intensively with the SDGs and sustainability, especially because we think that Denmark has a potential to become a frontrunner within green transition and sustainability. So we would like to be a role model and inspire others and also learn from others here in this small country called Denmark. I have a different background than most of the people who work at DI. I'm Hungarian, but have been traveling the world and lived in 7-8 different countries, including the US. So I have a lot of positive feelings about the US. In terms of my own personal sustainability goal, maybe I should mention that I live in a creative commune in the heart of Copenhagen, where we have a shared economy, we have common meals, we have shared cars, and our kids inherit each other's clothes. So we try to make a better world in our little own society. And yeah, if I have to pick one superpower, then I would like to be a flying superwoman with a special COVID virus killing power, so that we can all soon go back to our normal lives. Thanks a lot for joining.
Thank you, Kinga. I think that's a superpower we would all like to have. Perfect. Next up, we have Thomas Refslund Paulson.
Yes, hello everybody. My name is Thomas. I'm from University of Copenhagen, and I've been heading the Green Campus program at University of Copenhagen for the last 12 years, working on turning University of Copenhagen more sustainable, not when it comes to research or education, but the actual performance of the university itself. Yeah, a challenging task, and we just have set new targets for 2030 at University of Copenhagen, climate targets of a 50% reduction of the carbon footprint per staff and student. And the total carbon footprint you need to notice. So it's a bit of a challenge. Yes, so my goal is kind of related to that, to actually, get the efforts going to implement the goal and the action needed in the daily life at University of Copenhagen. So yeah, that's what we're looking into right now. And when it comes to superpowers, it's always like with a good fairy, you would actually like to have 3 wishes, but well, I'll stick to one, and I think that will be to make it fun. We're all trying to cope with sustainability and how to manage it, but I think we need to remember to make it fun and to make the collaboration, the work. Hopefully, you work together across countries to make it fun and inspiring. So if I had that ability, I think that would be great, and I think we would achieve more. So yeah, that's all for me.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Thomas. Next up, we have Susie Jones.
Hey everyone, I'm Susie Jones. I'm a senior project manager at the Office of Sustainability here at MIT. I've been here since 2013, and my background is mostly in urban planning. And so one of the goals I'm working on in terms of campus sustainability at MIT is to really ensure that the campus community has access to healthy, sustainable, affordable, culturally meaningful food every day. And so when I was thinking about an ideal superpower, I sort of connected it to that. And this is not the case, but I would love to be sort of like a master gardener, master chef that could produce enormous quantities of delicious food for anyone that wants it. So maybe I would have an apple orchard, could bake croissants, make sushi, all that would be amazing. Thanks, Madeline.
Thank you, Susie. Sounds like a very sustainable superpower as well. Perfect. So next we have our Danfoss Energy Prize jury. We'll start with Mark Shu.
Hi, I'm Mark Shu. I'm the Senior Director of Innovation at the Danfoss Innovation Accelerator. In my role, we're looking for sources of external talent as well as technology to help support our continued growth. So I've spent a lot of time in renewable energies and in energy efficiency. So from a technical standpoint, have worked on the ideas for eliminating waste. And my superpower is eliminating waste, but more so in human capital. So I like to work toward the best use of resources that we have. So killing ideas is one of bad ideas is one of my superpowers, and advocating great ideas is another one. So looking forward to the presentations. Thank you.
That's perfect. Thank you, Mark. Next up, we have Miha Bobič.
Yeah, thanks a lot. My name is Miha Bobič. I'm Vice President for Business Development and Product Portfolio in the District Energy Division in Danfoss. So quite a boring title, but I would say my goal is really that I fight every day that we that we emit less and less CO2 day by day. So either by inventing sustainable energies or technologies, or even persuading our customers that this is what they should go. And my superpower is perhaps a little bit boring, but I think I know a lot about the energy, so I really like to consult people on this field. Yeah.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Miha. Last up from our Danfoss Energy Prize jury, we have Tom B Jacobson.
Oh, Tom, you're still muted.
Yeah, I had 2 mute buttons here. Is it better now? Okay, good.
Yes.
So my name is Tom Jakobsen. I am Director Innovation and Technology Management in Danfoss. So kind of a colleague with Mark, although we come from different parts of Danfoss. I've been working with innovation for some years and also with energy. So I have a background within the energy section and energy efficiency. So that's why I'm here and trying to help us out, but also, of course, my innovation background. We're talking about superpowers. I think the superpower I'm striving at to get and be better at is actually helping people succeed with their ideas. That's really important in my work, and that's what we try to work hard at to be better at and really help people succeed.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Tom. All right. Thank you to all of our jury members for joining us to help select our winners from our 6 finalist teams. So without further ado, let's get to those pitches. So I'll ask the members of our first presenting team to raise their hands in the chat so I can elevate you to panelists. Each team will have 5 to 7 minutes to present their pitch, followed by a few minutes for questions from the jury. The order of the presentations will be, first we'll have the free cyclers, then Team Green Inspire, followed by C Cubed. Then we'll have the Green Rooftop. We'll have Waste Watchers after that. And lastly, Unigreen Farmers. So with that, I invite their free cyclers up and I will start elevating you to panelists. So Eva and Nicholas, I can see you're now here. So feel free to unmute and share your screen. Can you let me know who else is on your team? I don't see any other hands raised.
Is Shristi there?
Shristi, can you raise your hand? Oh, I see you here. All right, feel free to get started whenever you're ready.
Sounds good. Do you all see the screen?
Yes, we do.
Okay. Yeah, so basically our idea was to make a free cycle station on campus, basically trading items that are too useful to throw out, so students can give back a book or clothing or whatever they want, and then someone else can use that. So the idea came up because the Danish government put out a new recycling guide, and one of the things in that was actually free cycling. So giving what you have and take what you can use in sort of like a exchange model. And I thought this would be interesting to do in a student environment. So yeah, the basic problem is that people throw out perfectly useful stuff because they either don't know where to put it or they can't be bothered disposing it correctly. And our solution to that is having a physical free cycle station on campus, potentially run by volunteer students, and also having this free cycle station serve as sort of a social and educational meeting point on campus where you can have a chat, where you can meet other people. Yeah.
Hi. And also before I go with my slide, I think that we should take a second to introduce ourselves as well.
Oh yeah, sorry.
My name's Eva. I'm an undergraduate student at MIT studying architecture.
And I'm Nicholas. I study supply chain management at CBS.
I'm Shristi, and I'm studying MSc in public health in STU.
All right, now going in more to our idea, before we can even discuss the feasibility or the sustainability of our idea, we have to make sure it's a service that students will actually want to use, because it can be super sustainable, but if no one wants to use it, there's no point. So as a college student myself and having interacted with hundreds of college students in my time at MIT, I've determined that it seems like undergraduate students want convenient services that require the least amount of effort on their part. They want a welcoming environment, so they want to avoid dingy, cluttered spaces. They want to go someplace with a modern aesthetic that feels welcoming and enjoyable to be in. And finally, they want to spend the least amount of money as possible. So FreeCycle offers all of those services. Located on campus, students can always the FreeCycle hub distance, which makes it super convenient. Plus, we're also proposing a mobile app, which will allow students to see items on their phone and interact with other students within a matter of minutes and get their items out of their dorm room and into the hands of someone who wants them within little to no effort at all. We propose that the FreeCycle hub would feel almost like a lounge where students can relax, browse items, socialize, as opposed to more of a warehousey, cluttered feeling, which students probably wouldn't want to attend. And finally, FreeCycle will be free, so students can get items for no cost to them, which will make it way better than the alternative of spending a lot of money at the store for an item that they might not keep forever, because being on a college campus, you move around a lot. And so now in terms of the feasibility of our idea, we know that this idea can work because I've seen it firsthand on MIT's campus, a very similar lounge experience. This was not a FreeCycle space, but a few years ago, some undergraduate students proposed that they take an empty space near one of our lecture halls and turn it into a lounge where students can always come by to study, eat a banana, have some coffee, and relax. And this space is a prime example of a space that was completely proposed, executed, and is currently maintained by students. And not only that, but it is highly used by students as well. Students are always excited to go there in between lectures and socialize, relax, and create a community feel. And so this relates to FreeCycle because we've seen that this model of a space can work. And so we want to propose a similar concept of creating a space that people want to gather, but in this case, it would be a space where people can donate their items, browse for new items, and that sustainable community around trading and exchanging goods.
Whether to attract students or motivate current ones, we need to have good marketing strategies. So we have planned to do the marketing by different students, school channels, and programs in the university, and also in the social medias to inform the students about the initiatives. And we will also provide free coffee and Wi-Fi, so, like the concept explained by the Banana Lounge that was seen in the MIT. Yeah.
And as I mentioned earlier, we're proposing a mobile app for students to use as well. So this way they won't always have to visit the physical space. They can set their notifications to say, let me know when somebody donates a biology textbook. And then when somebody donates a biology textbook, they'll be able to see it and interact with it. This way people will be engaged with the FreeCycle experience from anywhere on campus. And additionally, if they have items that are too large to actually bring to the physical space, such as a desk or a giant chair, they can then make an announcement in the app saying, I have this amazing item. If someone wants to come pick it up from my dorm room, let's arrange that. And there will be a messaging service that students can coordinate travel, and they can save items and create a really interactive experience.
And yes, the exchange students are really crucial for this project because according to the websites of the university, we found that around 1,000 to 1,200 exchange students, they are welcome in the university like MIT and CBS, who requires the items in for their accommodations. And there are also some students who are trying to get rid of the stuffs, and they are very in rush to go away, go to their home. So this could be a very good idea to engage the students, also the international and exchange students, and we can bring them together through our promotional activities.
Yeah, and then lastly, we had a very good mentor session with Space 10, who proposed even going beyond free cycling, sort of doing upcycling. So this is sort of like a scale up potential, where, for example, reusing, or well, free cycling is just reusing, but where repairing and remanufacturing could happen. And this is maybe also more of a business case, because here sort of money is also involved, whereas free cycling, everything is free, sort of in the name as well. So we made a little sort of dream idea where an upcycling station in a collaboration with IKEA could happen on campus. So furniture that is broken or old or whatever can be handed into the station, and IKEA can then refurbish it and sell it back to a lower price. One of the biggest examples of this is also mattresses, for example. No one wants to buy a used mattress, but if it's refurbished, remade, it actually can be sold again and for a low price. So it's a benefit to IKEA, it's a benefit for the students, and it would create this sort of localized circular economy within a college campus. Yeah, so that was it for us.
Thank you.
Thanks very much, Team Free Cyclers. Now we'll open it up to questions from our jury.
So I can start. I've got two questions. So one is, as far as the social impact, are there other off-takers beyond the university campus that could create value out of the so-called disposed materials from the campus? So for example, furniture, are there avenues where people in need could use that furniture that would produce overall more value in the community? So that's one question. The second one, and this is maybe more for the MIT students, but how is this concept different from the furniture exchange at MIT, where used furniture is donated and refurbished and then repurposed or maybe upcycled?
I can talk about those. So to respond to your first question, there would likely be a lifespan on the items within the free cycle station. So they might stay for a month or so. And then at that point, if no one's come to claim them, we could proceed to donate them to charity or Goodwill or some other organization outside of campus. And in terms of the MIT Furniture Exchange, the biggest difference I see is that we wouldn't just have furniture. This would be clothing, kitchen utensils, especially because a lot of people live in cook for yourself dorms where they need to get new kitchen utensils every year, which can be a pain. And the furniture exchange is located pretty far away from campus. And so we would propose a space that is extremely convenient, being located on campus, similar to the Banana Lounge model.
Yeah, and Furniture Bank is not that sexy, I guess. We want it to be like a social space as well, where people can talk and exchange students can go to as well, as like a first-hand experience.
Okay, thank you.
Quick question. Have you thought about maybe partnering, especially on the furniture side, with a vocational school or others, so that furniture and other things like that could also become an educational opportunity for those that are in the process of getting training, developing furniture, developing new materials and things like that?
Yeah, I thought about that. That's like a perfect idea, right? Like the students who are actually working with, refurbishing the furniture, or what do you call it, wood shopping as well. That would be perfect to have that near them, and they can use their time as well on that. That would be perfect.
And do you know what would it take? Because, for example, depending on the proximity, then there may be cost and other things that may not make it so feasible. Have you thought about that other angle, maybe as a potential for future growth?
Yeah, so I mean, there has to be sort of a distinguishment between the free cycle and then the up cycle, because free cycle, we also talked about this, all it takes is just, it actually doesn't even need to take up space. It just needs connection between people and they can trade items. Whereas upcycling, that's where you need an actual physical space and you need people who are working, like adding value to stuff. So first of all, that's that. There are people who are actually doing real work and adding value to stuff. So there has to be some sort of compensation for that. As well as coordination, as you said, with the proximity between campus, you probably need something that can transport big enough furniture, and you need storage as well. So, but again, I mean, that's why we somehow didn't go too concrete, because for example, my campus at CBS, I mean, we do not have a lot of space, and we don't even have dormitories. So it's different from campus to campus, but the idea would be have enough storage and have some sort of transportation method and coordination via the app or some sort of contact between the station and the students. So that also aligns.
Thank you. No, but what I meant is, you know, for example, if you become a hub and coordinator, you don't need to have the storage. You partner with someone, you let them know, and within your free cycle model, you just make them aware that there may be a piece that they can harness and they can use, and it fulfills what you're doing right now, what you're proposing to do right now, and you don't need that extra, like the truck or the space to store things. But thank you very much for the presentation.
Thank you so much, Free Cyclers. Next up, we have Team Green Inspire. So Chiara, Eric. All right. Team Green Inspire, once you're all on, feel free to go ahead and start your presentation.
Just a second, we'll just wait for, I think Alison is still missing.
Yes, she should be joining in just a moment.
There she is. Well,
should I go ahead and share our presentation?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Can everyone see it?
Yes, we can.
Coolio. Well, hello, everybody. I am thrilled to welcome you to the Sustainability World Fair. With me, I have John Liu, Chiara Banshaft, and Alison Lee from MIT, Anna Warning from the University of Aalborg, and my name is Eric Kors from the University of Southern Denmark. Our idea draws inspiration from the old world fairs, where people came from all over the world and came together to share the newest advances in science and technology. This inspiration comes from our defined problem that while universities are producing a lot of research and innovation in sustainability, that knowledge is not being utilized to its full potential. So why is that? We believe that this stems from the knowledge being hard to find. If that knowledge is found, it's hard to know what to use, and even if you can find what you need, it can be hard to understand. Because of this, research and innovation into sustainability does not have the personal impact that it could have.
Thanks so much, Eric. So to really make this lack of exposure to sustainability concrete, we can actually look at some data collected from about a quarter of the MIT undergrad population this past fall. So to start, we find that nearly 60% of students don't even consider the concept of sustainability when they're deciding their major. And second, on the next slide, we can see that exposure to sustainability related information, it's largely limited to online resources. Which signifies that students find this type of information only when they're already seeking it out, or when their social media has already deemed them someone who might be interested in sustainability. So let's then delve into why there's not enough exposure to sustainability related work. Well, there might be a ton of research around climate and energy going on campus. You can see here the many groups across MIT, DTU, and SDU who are doing that sort of work. But this research is often siloed and it's not easily translated to the public. How do we effectively get all of the stakeholders, from researchers to students to partners, together in one place to then collaborate and disseminate their work to exponentially increase the number of other stakeholders who could get involved? So we arrive to our problem statement. How might we showcase research on campus in a way that is more digestible and actionable for a wider population?
Our vision is thus to take academic research and move it into the public realm, to take it out of the corners of campus and make it more accessible and intelligible to the wider population, moving it from a conceptual and digital space into something that is more tangible to people. What we're envisioning is a Green Inspire Sustainability Hub. This Sustainability Hub is a physical community space located on campus. This space can host gathering and events focused on the topic of sustainability. We envision it being itself an example of green methods, so employing features like green walls, using sustainable building materials. We want it to be a host site for showcasing and displaying new ideas, innovations, products, new systems, and designs. So being sort of a living lab where people can come and visit and feel and experience things. And all of it is supported by a digital platform for networking, knowledge sharing, and facilitating communication amongst different people.
We have divided our project into 3 phases, where the first one focuses on developing the digital platform and create some local initiatives. And then phase 2 is focusing on the public-facing sustainability hub, where we want a physical place where to showcase our projects and products. And it's important to engage with the public in this phase. And the third phase is about creating this World Hub, World Fair, and then involve stakeholders and invite for collaborations.
So our idea begins in Cambridge and Denmark, but the potential is truly global. We hope that many universities will participate in this World Fair. And in order to measure the impact, we've come up with 6 metrics that are key to this initiative. 3 are internal and specific to each university's ecosystem. So we looked at the number of student startups that begin because of sustainability, the percentage of students who decide majors because of their interest in sustainability, and the number of research projects that make it out of papers and labs and into the public's eyes under this World Fair. The 3 external metrics we thought about were specific to the relationship between a university and its external stakeholders. So the number of universities that participate in the sustainability network, the number of partnerships that begin to form between academia and public and private sector, and lastly, the number of external visitors that engage with a sustainability World Fair, whether it's at MIT or at another university. And so our idea hopefully considers the 3 aspects of environmental, social, and economic sustainability in a holistic way. And we hope that by drawing upon the legacy and inspiration of the World Fairs in the past, that they will help us chart a path forward for the present and in the future. And that's it for us. Thank you very much. Open to your questions.
Thanks so much, team. Questions from our jury?
I have a question, Madeline. Thank you so much, guys. Super exciting. I have one question about basically the business model or the financing of especially the physical space in the beginning that you presented. I mean, it seems like there has to be an investment from someone to showcase this green solution. So have you thought about how you would finance them, but also whether you have thought about any kind of partnerships with especially maybe the business sector?
I can take on that question to start. I guess what Anna described at the beginning of phase 1 is that we wouldn't obviously construct a massive pavilion on MIT's campus or any other university. It would start very small as a kind of like a prototype of a solution, some form of a digital platform, and maybe like one simple structure, right? Like whether it has like video screens or some easy structure that could be developed, and start engaging with the student community. And from there, a lot of the inspiration came from talking to Space 10 in that their model for disseminating research and innovation is similar. It's like a way to kind of experiment and test out ideas prior to them becoming much larger. When we think about the later phases, when this can grow, then obviously looping in sponsors from the private sector who would be interested in investing into this, and so they have access to these ideas and inventions. But we also don't want to limit it just to those who can afford such a sponsorship. But it would be great to bring in the communities around each university, and similar to how we imagine like the MIT Museum is set up, you can engage stakeholders in that way to have them pay and come and see this type of a World Fair.
Yeah, maybe I'll also add, if we gave consideration as well to the feasibility of implementing this project, and we wanted it to be something that was accessible not only to universities at MIT and also in Denmark, but if any other universities across the world wanted to also participate in this. So for example, we envision a physical space where people can come and touch and feel and experience and understand different ideas. But in terms of the design of that space, we wanted it to be flexible enough so that it could be implemented in different climates, under different budgets, using different sort of resources. So for that, we wanted to kind of designate and provide support, but also leave it open enough that these are more design recommendations rather than having one particular plan and trying to just plop it in different places.
Thank you.
I have a question. First of all, thank you. I think, well, it goes for you and for the other group and the rest of you. I mean, I think it's impressive that you managed to sort of put together stuff like this when you sort of work at a distance, haven't met before, and so on. So it's all done virtually. I think that's great. I have one question: kind of the link between the hub, the physical part, and the World Fair. I mean, maybe it's just me, but I didn't quite get completely the link between those initiatives in practice. So maybe you could elaborate a little on that.
Sure, I can jump in with that. So the World Fair was very much our jumping ground, sort of our vision to conceive of the idea. And really it's based on the idea that people come together and want to showcase their products, their designs, their ideas. And that's something that there is an international component, of course, with the World Fair. For our purposes, we want to localize it more to different universities, but also facilitate communication between universities in different parts of the world. So we do envision starting simply, again, being something that we can implement right away and having it be more of a digital network that connects people. And then over time, hopefully programmatically, we can start implementing more exchange programs, bringing people around, showing products from different universities and how they can be localized at your home university. So having it have a more of a international appeal and on a rotational basis.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Team Green Inspire. I will go ahead and move on to our next team, which is Team C Cubed. So you'll all be promoted to panelists now. And once you're all online, please go ahead and share your screen and start your presentation.
So I'll just start sharing my screen.
Yeah, so we're Team Campus Centralized Computing, or C Cubed, and today we're presenting our idea for the reclamation of computing waste heat used as a source for campus heating. I'm Naomi, and I'm studying mechanical engineering at MIT.
I'm Søren. I'm studying a civil engineering degree in environmental engineering at SDU. Oh no, we might have lost Shubham, but he's also here, but he might not have a voice yet.
Hi, I'm sorry for the delay. I'm Shubham, and I'm doing my master's at DTU in business analytics.
Yeah, and I'm Anna Slidt, studying product development and innovation at the University of Southern Denmark. In our team, we also have Barash, but unfortunately he wasn't able to make it for this meeting today. And he's studying sustainable energy, at DTU. So our idea is to combine two already existing concepts, the concept of connecting all laptops to a central server, and the concept of using waste heat from data centers for either space heating or for heating of water. So the idea, as said before, is to create this centralized computing network for students, moving their physical PCs into a virtual server at the university, and thereby saving energy and using the waste heat from these servers in order to heat the campuses, either buildings or waters. And this is already done to some degree in data centers, as seen on the photo below.
Our idea how to get the students to use these virtual machines are by the unified logins that they are seen now. For instance, at SDU, we have one here that access your webmail and your schedule for the days. And these access portals would then also be the access portals to the virtual machines, making a login on them almost a requirement to fulfill student days. And this would ease the administration and giving all the students access to software and programs on an equal basis. The next slide. The sustainability goals, this concept targets are the quality education goals, the clean energy goals, a better IT infrastructure, no inequalities in that the students would no longer be required to maintain a high-performance laptop, since all their high-performance computing would be done virtually. It would lead to a more sustainable building on the campus, since we would recycle more waste energy that would usually just be laptop heat distributed among classrooms, but would now be centralized and harnessable. It could also reduce the environmental footprint of each student if they don't have to do a laptop upgrade due to hardware reasons.
And to evaluate the impact of our solution, we focused on MIT's campus. We estimated that over 450,000 kilowatt hours is used annually for student laptops at MIT as is. And by connecting these laptops to a virtual server, the laptops can then operate on lower power idle mode. And through this, we can save 267 megawatt hours of electricity from charging, which equates to around $40,000 US in electricity. In addition, we can recover 192 megawatt hours for heating, which for context is enough to contribute about 5 to 10% of the heat to an MIT campus building. And we can also use it to heat water. So Shubham will now talk about some of the other benefits.
Thank you. So looking at the value proposition that this Envision will create is huge value for campuses and students and staff as well. So the customer segment could be the campuses and the students and staff. So the job will be basically to reuse the energy from the heating and also use the virtual computer in order to be more efficient at studies. The major gain will be it is eco-friendly and have a possible expansion of heating into different uses like electricity. It will also provide quick recovery and have access to the software and licensing system very, very quickly. And the pains would be like the installation cost for heating and accessing the to the virtual computers could be a little bit more, but that can overcome by the benefits for the longer run. And also it will provide the easy software licensing and system upgrades for the students as well. This will not only help students, but also will help to like solve the complex problem. And also it could be a little bit difficult to understand in the beginning, but then it will be really easy to use these virtual computers and also the excessive heat from the servers. The value it will create will it will reduce the heating cost and utilize the heat produced by the servers. Not only that, it will also reduce the server cooling cost and provide the high performance computing for the graduates and the master students in the university. The major pain relievers would be it will reduce heat wastage that has happened over the times, which is been said by Naomi before. And also it will provide the less power for charging laptops and devices and other lab equipments. It will also be efficient to use the hardware that cannot be managed by every student in the campus. The major products and services would be the common platform for accessing to the all materials in the university, as well as redistributions of energy for the different uses. Next. Scaling up and implementing this plan would consist of investigating the market, gathering all the necessity and huge amount of data and how to implement that, a mock-up platform, and also a develop prototype for heating connection system. Majorly, it will be followed by finding a manufacturer and campus partners to test the concept and test development. Further, it can be verified and evaluate the errors. That after that, finding an investor and investing platforms could be help this idea to get implemented, and that can be developed and launched further for the betterment of this campus and as well as the students. Thank you. And we are open for questions.
Yeah, Miha Bobič, I would like to ask you one question. Can you elaborate how you got the numbers on the savings a bit more?
Yeah, so you can read more about it in the report linked in our submission, but basically from Microsoft and Apple websites, we found average watt power consumption at max power and at idle. And then we assumed that MIT students were doing the equivalent hours of 3 hours of like maximum computing a day and then 8 hours of idle. And then we figured that if we switched to a virtual server, it would convert all of those hours to being idle. So then we sort of took the difference and said that that was now going into the virtual computer. And that was how much energy was no longer being used for charging. And we also accounted for losses along the way. So we only accounted for 80% of the heat to be recovered.
Okay, thanks.
I have a question. To that, and maybe you said it and maybe I missed it. So if that's then I'm sorry for that. But to actually run the virtual machines, there is a cost related to that. So have you thought about who and how that is going to be financed?
We were talking about that the future probably is big server parks for education departments, since the need for computing always goes up for students. Like my study, for instance, we actually needed around a 32 gigabyte RAM machine, and it's not very common yet for everyone to have it. And those programs will continue to expand in scale. So we think there is a future for the universities to actually, where it will be required for them to, put machines aside for students.
And I would like to add on that, Son, thank you. And in DTU as well, we are using this high performance computer for heavy machine learning and platforms like algorithms. And in my particular laptop, the hardware is not available. So with the help of HPC, we were managed to deliver like longer runs programs and training the models, and that are done very easily in really quick time, and that help us to deliver the project within time with the good accuracy. And not just that, the normal students like the one who are using Excel and Google Chrome with multiple tabs, they can also increase the performance of their computer by shifting to the virtual computers, and that will ease their task, and they will not need require a high performance computers like with the higher GPU or maybe a good graphics card, and that will help students to be more efficient at campuses.
Yeah.
I have a question. Just when you're not at campus, and then you might need the same services. How do you deal with that? I mean, being back home or wherever.
Yeah, I can take that first. So even in the you have the particular access to you need to develop a key to log in and ask the server to get the access. Once you get the access, you can even access that virtual computer from home. And I did the same once I developed the SSH key for my high performance computer at DTU. And then I was able to do my computing from home and from anywhere place in Copenhagen, or even from India, or maybe from any other place in the whole world.
But it will require a decent internet connection.
Yeah. Basically that works on the high internet speed. So since you got the high internet speed, you can run a quick model or anything within no time.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Team C.
Thank you so much.
We'll move on to our next team, which is Team Green Rooftop. Okay. I've just promoted you to panelists, so please go ahead and introduce yourself and share your slides as soon as you're ready.
All right, hello. So we are Team Green Rooftops. Next slide, please. So just to introduce the team, I'm Selma. I'm a student at MIT studying environmental engineering. Amber is a student at MIT studying physics. Min An is a student at SDU studying mechatronics engineering. Layla is an exchange student at SDU studying marketing and project management. And Nicole is a student at MIT studying chemical engineering. Next slide, please. So just for a little bit of background, so with the COVID-19 pandemic, we have all seen how valuable outdoor space can be. And so while we were researching and going through the ideation phase, we learned that Copenhagen has a green roof policy, which requires green roofs for all new buildings with flat sloped roofs. We also looked at the ASHI STARS sustainability ratings for MIT. We found that some of the areas that needed the most improvement were water use, landscape management, and building energy. And so our motivation for this project was answering the question, how can we implement green roofs on university campuses in an impactful, innovative, and feasible way?
So the main problem we saw was that in many city centers, rainwater is not harvesting, and in campus there are not many green spaces for students to rest and work or have their meal. So the solution we figured out was to use rainwater and to optimize the space in the roof. So to create green rooftops on the campuses so that the students and the staff could gather and have green moments outside of the campus. Next slide, please. So green roofs are a great solution to have many green spaces in campus, because most of the time the roofs are not used in campus. And the thing is that if you use the rainwater for harvesting on all the plants on the green rooftops, it could be it could be low maintenance and not very expensive. So here you can see an example of a logo we have created. So we have also created a business model Canva to analyze all the components of our project. So I will just focus on some of the squares. So the main partners of our project will be the students and all the staff on the campus, but also the board of directors. Our competitors will be all the public spaces on the campus, such as the library or the student unions, where people tend to gather. The main resources will be the rainwater and our team who created the project. And the value proposition would be to create an outdoor space for students who don't especially have outdoor spaces on their apartment. As you can see, the cost will be low, and there can be revenue streams from this infrastructure.
So our rooftop garden includes the following components: the water tanks, cistern, and we have filter, and we have a drainage pipe, a gutter, a glass roof, a water pipe, automatic adjustable valve and timer, and the support column. And I will present about the theory of the principle of the operations. So first, when it rains, rainwater flows down into the glass covering through a gutter and into water tanks. And the water tanks connected to a drip irrigation line, which is a low pressure hose pipe with nozzles that drip water into each individual plant. And the set of valves is operated by an automatic timer set to water the plants for a short period of time each day. The garden is protected by glass or a plastic covering, which allows the sunlight in and protects the garden from snow and acts as a greenhouse in colder months. And during the operation, we can observe the water level to change appropriate irrigation water flow by adjusting the valve, and we can detect any issues when the rain is too heavy and the water in the tank cannot exceed the height of the drainage pipe, and the water will flow into the ground floor. The valve can be fitted with a separate hose pipe to drain the cistern when maintenance or repair are needed, and we can go into the water tank for cleaning easily.
Okay, so there are many benefits to this technology. I'll address some short-term efforts and long-term sustainability efforts. The plants that come of this technology can be sold to students, providing a clean, affordable source of produce, which, as we know, it's very hard to get in healthy meals as a student. And the system itself is environmentally friendly because you can reuse plastic, old water pipes, and other materials to create the structure. The system is very simple. It doesn't use electricity, and it saves a lot of money in what would be a budget for maybe other more expensive technologies. And in the short term, it also just has a very positive effect on people's mood, and socializing is great for people's health in this current time. So in the long term, I think this raises awareness of environmental protection, saving energy, and making use of resources that are wasted or used ineffectively, especially on campus. As a student, I realize that there's so much rainwater that can be harvested and used for other purposes. So I think this is a really great way to include that in the long term. There's also improvements in energy efficiency of buildings, air quality in the area, especially because a lot of college campuses are located in cities, rainwater management, water conservation, acoustic insulation, roof lifespan, biodiversity of, plants and insects in the area, as well as human well-being. This is also a semi-intensive green roof where students, staff, and community members can have access to and socialize on the roof, so they can share their experiences and knowledge about the environment. And this could be a educational opportunity for MIT. And they can just share general tips about planting and harvesting these produce.
Yeah, and then for the potential, we're just going to look at the rainfall really quick. We got the idea for this from Tucson, Arizona, which is a desert city that harvests a lot of rainwater, but there's just not enough rainfall to sustain any kind of garden. But here we can see with the rainfall in Copenhagen, it's pretty high, pretty consistent through the year. So you can sustain a garden with just the rainfall. You don't need to pump up water from the building below. You don't need to do any of that. And on the next slide, we're going to see the same kind of trend in Boston. Like the rainfall does go down a little bit in the winter when there's snow. So we just would choose like hardy plants that could live through that. But again, it's pretty consistent, which means that we can sustain this garden like all through the year. So then the next slide, we'll just see that the potential for this is really high because what it does is it opens up a lot of opportunity to have a green roof in places where you usually wouldn't have a functioning garden as a green roof, because it's a lot cheaper. You don't have to like bring water up from below. So just the production is a lot easier, and you don't have to go up every day because of the drip irrigation. So it just lowers the barriers for more people to have green roofs. We're hoping that specifically in campuses, this can be a space for people to gather, because especially in COVID times, we need places outside, we need places that are green and welcoming. And Boston has a lot of flat roof buildings, and the dorms at MIT all have really big, nice flat roofs that we're hoping we could like put green roofs on, and then people can just go upstairs and get a healthy snack and just hang out. So that's our hope for this.
So I think we have almost finished. I will just script this slide, and we will thank you all for listening. Thank you very much.
Thanks, team. Any questions for Marjorie?
I had a question. So I think that there's a couple, it seems like there's a couple purposes this group is trying to address, one of which is, you know, green roofs, rooftop garden spaces, food production, and the other is rainwater harvesting. And certainly at MIT's campus, I think there are some integrated rooftop systems where water is traditionally collected underground in a big cistern. I'm wondering is there an advantage to capturing rainwater on the rooftop itself, or can you imagine sort of an integrated system where you're collecting rainwater on sort of a bunch of roofs that the tanks are maybe on the ground? Or is the part, can you just maybe talk about that integration, and is it really meant to be those two, I'll call rainwater harvesting and food production or green space sort of as two almost separate but certainly connected objectives? Do you see those as having to be together, or did you discuss sort of an approach that looked at those two as sort of integrated systems, but not necessarily have to be sited on the same place, if that makes any sense?
Yeah, no, I think that does definitely make sense. I think our goal with this was just that rooftop gardens can be difficult for if you don't want to set up a big system and you don't want to like set up systems to bring water up. So I think our hope was just that it could lower the barrier to someone wanting to make a rooftop garden, especially with like MIT has a lot of resources and has a lot of funding, but I think some like maybe a student group wouldn't have access to all of that, so it would just be easier for them to start it right away. But I think we weren't intending for it to overtake anything where there is a system to collect rainwater, but rather in places where there aren't systems in place, which is a relatively easy way to add something.
I also have a quick question. I was just wondering about the running maintenance. You know, I mean, you presented that the initial investment is not as large as with big systems, but I believe that a green roof doesn't take care of itself just like that. So have you considered how you would set up a kind of running maintenance so that actually you maintain a beautiful garden?
Yeah, no, I think that's a really good point. I think it would depend like campus to campus. I think if we were to start at MIT, our hope would be like a kind of student club where like students could come up and we could have days where people come and like, you know, bring in the dirt and do the fertilizer, do the planting. Our hope really was just to change the way that like again, the initial cost of like setting up a watering system. And we're hoping that with the irrigation, it just wouldn't mean that someone has to come up like every day, but there would definitely still be like days when everyone comes up and like planned, you know, maintenance days and like big harvests and planting. Hoping with students, but I guess it would depend on the campus.
Yeah, and I was going to add that although it's not completely free of maintenance and it can't just take care of itself, we are trying to address ways that we can lessen the amount of maintenance that would be needed as compared to a traditional green roof that doesn't have the irrigation system that we have, or maybe integrated pest management to assure that the crops are staying healthy. So I think that definitely lessens what would usually be needed.
Great. Thank you so much, Team Green Roofs. We'll have Team Waste Watchers up next. Please raise your hand so I can elevate you to panelists. All right, and once you are ready, please go ahead and introduce yourselves and start your presentation. Waste Watchers, are you all set?
Okay, I think Audrey just got kicked out.
Oh no.
she wanted to start. I can improve. And now she is back.
Good.
Sorry about that. Okay, great. Hi, everyone. We're Team Waste Watchers, and our project is to minimize food waste at canteens through digital forecasting and tracking of food consumption. Our team includes Olivia and I, who are undergraduates at MIT, and Annie and Corvin, who are master's students at SDU. First, we begin with the problem that we are tackling. As we all know, food waste is a significant problem across the world. Every year, 1.3 billion tons of food are wasted globally. This is 1/3 of all the food that is produced for human consumption. Additionally, food waste is detrimental to the environment because it is not just the food that is wasted. The energy and resources used to produce the food at every step in the process is wasted as well. The issue of food waste is extremely relevant to college students. It is estimated that 142 pounds of food waste is produced by every American student on average every year. Tying it back to the issue of global warming, 11% of all greenhouse gas emissions come from food waste. And also, 1 in 9 people do not get enough food to lead a healthy lifestyle. So it is our role to act ethically and minimize food waste. As universities, we are often seen as leaders in society, and we should live up to that role by reducing food waste in our canteens. Currently, the situation in our canteens is far from ideal. There is high uncertainty in terms of predicting food demand, which often leads to overproduction. Canteen visitors have no streamlined way of communicating with canteen managers and staff, and students rarely have the option to consider sustainable choices when making their choice in what they eat. And finally, the COVID-19 pandemic is presenting new challenges and restrictions to the usual buffet-style manner of serving food in canteens.
So we did a little bit of market research, what is currently existing to reduce food waste in canteens. So a survey showed that Trailers Meals reduce the front of house food waste tremendously. Lean Path is currently, for example, used at MIT to reduce back of house food waste, and Too Good To Go is an app connecting customers and restaurants to deal with leftovers. So we did also a little survey where we asked students about their habits, and actually 2/3 of them consider food waste in their daily life. Half of them take a full meal when they go to a canteen, and 2/3 of them actually would agree to book their meals in advance. A day or more would be appropriate for that. So what are the canteen needs? They want better planning. They want to have a practical system implemented, but they also want to have a financial advantage and have a control on their food waste, but also a good repetition, so a constant feedback can improve that to work on their service. The students or canteen visitor needs, they want to have daily meals on a low budget, but also want to have the feeling of contributing to the avoidance of food loss, and have a broader menu selection reflecting their diet preferences, portion sizes, and allergies. So having a good overview on the offerings, but also, it's a social place where the people come and get together.
Okay, so our solution is a customized forecasting and tracking platform software that enables the canteens to better plan their food production and also adds on to existing campus canteen solutions. So it is a communication tool between the canteen visitors and the canteen managers. And both sides communicate and receive information through their individual user interface. It works through that the canteen visitors have the possibility to pre-order menus and receive discounts according to the regularity of pre-ordering their meals, as well as they can receive discounts for leftovers at the end of the day. Lastly, they also have the possibility to communicate to the canteen by giving feedback. The canteen managers, they are responsible for creating the weekly menus, they can receive feedback through this and the statistics and analytics about upcoming and past demands. So ways to motivate especially students to use our tool, change their behavior in a more sustainable direction and make this work are financial incentives for the early pre-ordering, booking those meals regularly, and giving feedback. Other incentives such as raffle solutions, where students have a chance to win free food if they pre-order meals a specific time in advance. And lastly, a more soft incentive could be a university food waste score that can be compared to other universities, which could encourage friendly competition amongst different universities.
So our proposed idea really builds on a bunch of existing solutions. So we plan on adding on to already accessible university applications, so that way students can easily access it. And other tools that we mentioned, such as LeanPath, which canteen managers are already using, can be incorporated into our solution. So we don't need to create a completely new tool for this. We can just customize and combine what's already there to create an optimal solution. So we propose starting this platform at MIT and other Danish universities, and then possibly scaling up to include universities all around the world, and then even companies that may have a canteen in their workplace. So here we have like a little walkthrough of what it would look like for a student to order a meal. So they pick a time and place to pick up their meal and choose from the menu options available that day. And when paying, there's an option to use credits that they have accumulated from ordering early in the past. And when placing their order, they also have the option to invite a friend, which maintains the social aspect of dining. So now moving on to some of the benefits of our idea. For canteen managers, they can prepare meals that better fit the demand of students due to the pre-ordering and the better feedback on meal options, leading to less food waste and cutting some costs for them. And the canteen should also increase in popularity now that they can sort of tailor their menus according to visitor feedback. And they can contribute to the overall sustainability of the university. For the canteen visitors, There's the option to save money on meals, which is something that students are always looking to cut down on. And visitors can also get their voices heard when it comes to influencing meal options and the direction that canteens may move into the future. And most importantly, students can feel like they're contributing to the overall sustainability of the university and can reduce their own environmental impact. So thanks for your attention, and we'll now take any questions.
Thanks,
Okay,
Waste Watchers. Please go ahead.
Yeah, I can start. First of all, like Thomas said before to one of the earlier presenters, it's very amazing how much you did in a very short time. So really, really good work. I think I'm kind of the older end of the spectrum, right? At least a lot older than you guys. And my experience is that over the years, my days have become less and less planned. And of course, now for the last year, we've been in this COVID situation, and I know that I will be in my house tomorrow also. But in my normal work day, I don't know where I'll be tomorrow. And I think for most of you, maybe I'm wrong, but even as a student, your plan for tomorrow are not fixed. So do you really think that you are able to order a meal in advance? Or are we just talking about maybe a few hours that you give the canteen to prepare?
Yeah, I think that's a great point. I would say that as a student, it really varies in terms of how set our schedules are and whether or not we can plan ahead of time. But I would see our app working out because you would be able to choose when you order the meal, and the earlier you order it, the bigger of a discount or incentive you receive. But you are still able to order a couple hours ahead, or you still have the option of going to the dining hall and just ordering right there and then, although you would not receive the incentive. And also for many students whose schedules may be not set or they might have things show up from day to day, the other point that was to reduce food waste at the end of the day. So there would also be discounts for food that is not being sold throughout the day, where the student can just go in and purchase that specific item that's not selling well and receive an incentive on that. So I guess our goal is to have the incentive encourage students to order ahead, but it doesn't have to be like far in advance, and it is a sliding scale.
Okay, thank you.
One comment or question from my part, also kind of related to what Tom says. Isn't it so that, I mean, you go to the canteen and the sandwich looks really gross today, but the salad they have is really nice. So, and you make a choice sort of being at the canteen. So it's more like the question of sort of a bit like the same. You decide in the situation and based on how it looks and how you feel today and so on. And yeah, any thoughts about that?
I can maybe answer that. So we thought about options to give feedback to different meals that are reoccurring. So you could look at your app, and then students have already given maybe some stars or reviews on your meals. So you are more likely to just look at the reviews and base your choice on that. So you don't have to go to the canteen and look at the offerings.
Super. Thank you so much, Waste Watchers. We have our final team coming up next, Team Unigreen Farmers. Please go ahead and raise your hands, and I'll elevate you to panelists so that you can start your presentation. And once you have access, please go ahead and share your screen and go ahead and introduce yourself.
Hi there.
Yes, I can hear you, Cosmos.
Lovely. Well, we are last, so I reckon this is what you call the graveyard slot. Anyway, thank you for the opportunity to be here. We are the Unigreen farm team. The team consists of 5 people: Cosmos, me, Julia, Federico, Brian, and Frederick. And it was actually Frederick who, growing up in Spain, had access to a school garden, which provided him with a connection on food production. He felt linked to it, and that feeling stayed on as a memory. Nowadays, climate change is inevitably happening. Cities are expanding in population, about 80% will be in one by 2050, and with that an increased pressure on cities for resources, food, water, green areas. At the same time, we have a growing disconnect on the food system between consumers, city inhabitants, and food producers. Globally, the educational institutes are called to contribute with research on projects of sustainability. Our idea comes in the form of a network of vegetable gardens on rooftop campuses of participating universities, in order to foster and activate community engagement with environmental and social benefits, to not only boost green spaces inside campuses, but also increase food and food system literacy. These farms are mostly research-led initiatives, disseminating generated knowledge transfer, facilitating interdisciplinary research and collaboration. Educational programs can be built around this farming project, for example, focusing on not only the plants, but also the microbial activities of the soil, regenerative soil, etc. There's also potential to commercialize. A small startup can test new products and services here for autonomous farming to be implemented and tested. Therefore, we achieve an integration between human and technology. The benefits of such a proposal range from climate to food systems and, of course, research on an interdisciplinary and international form. This project can be adapted to the structural context of each campus and its environment. Similar farms, but with different goals, have been implemented, so we know it can be done. The stakeholders we need to convince and collaborate with would be universities, administrations, local government, enterprises working with food production and distribution, or organizations working with food, education, and social inclusion. The technology and the know-how exists and is already being implemented. The project can be even implemented as a pilot in tiny available spaces or expanded to cover the roof of entire buildings and thus increase even the energy savings. Summing up, Unigreen farms would be located all over the world in innovative and climate-conscious university campuses, would foster research development alongside common topics with different ecosystems, with potential for research collaboration, the exchange between researchers, students, funding, and projects. So helping bridge the global system and the food system gap through interdisciplinary and international research collaboration in an urban setting. And finally, being a testbed for autonomous agricultural techniques and specialty farming. We even formed an estimate of the budget needed, as you can see here. Thank you very much for your attention.
Thanks very much, team. All right, questions from our jury.
I have a quick question. I really like the research element of this, that one point you had about sort of researchers across the globe, you know, asking the same questions in different ecosystems. Have you guys identified any researchers on your campuses that you think, like, you know, you don't have to name names, but that would be specifically interested in this, in something like this, or that you can imagine? Like, do you feel like that's sort of ground tested a little bit in terms of there being the appetite amongst researchers to do a project like this?
Yeah, most definitely. We did already in the mentoring stages of this project that we had just the other day. We talked to a few people who expressed their own interest in this project and projects like this, and we actually received as close to I don't know if you could call it a proposal, but
Offer.
a offer / invitation to if this was to become a reality, they would be very interested in joining up. So I think you could say most definitely to a field of interest already at this point.
I have a question, and it's related to sort of the rooftop. One of the previous groups also had the rooftop sort of garden as a focus. And my question is sort of, I mean, it becomes slightly complicated when it's on the rooftops. I mean, the roof and the building, can it manage? And you have people walking on the roof, and you have water tanks, etc., etc. It all becomes much more complicated, basically, having it on a rooftop. So the question is why not use the green spaces at campus? I mean, don't you think, looking at your own campuses, it would be possible to find spaces that could be used for the same purposes?
I mean, I think that's definitely a viable option. The reason we initially chose to go with the rooftop placement was the fact that, and I'm sorry, I can't remember the exact statistics here, but we are seeing a ever-increasing demand for I don't know if you'd call it plots or available land, and thus also a ever-increasing price as we are more and more people for a not increasing size of land, and therefore it would be ideal, at least in that aspect, to utilize existing land masses that aren't already being used for something else or aren't heavily competed for, and thus don't have the same price point. But most definitely it could also be a factor of this, and it's something to bear in mind for sure.
And if I could add, because the concept here doesn't require necessarily to be done in a roof, because the value proposition is to have the network of universities working in farms. Ideally would be on the roof, but we know that it's easier done in a new building, not in the existing, usually are old anyway. But you can even have a tiny plot on an existing ground and start working on that as a pilot. And data collected from there, feedback from there, we can prove the case that it's worth doing in a larger scale. This was one of the talks we had.
Yeah, if I may add just a comment to your question, Thomas. Something that we discussed during mentorship actually with Susie was the value in having an idea that could be translated into different kind of university scenarios. So we thought, we were thinking about Denmark, and we thought it would be interesting to have it at KU and maybe have it in a rooftop scenario. But a lot of what we discussed as a team is that how this idea could actually be really translated into an environment where the researchers themselves could design that kind of uni-green farm and take our idea and make it user-friendly for them and their research. So that being said, it could be on the ground as well. It could be a vertical garden. It could be hydroponics. The idea is to have a research facility at an urban farm inside of a campus as such. So the rooftop was just because we were really keen on that and the potential with climates and albedo and yeah, stuff like that.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Unigreen farmers. From now, we will have our jury members go to their deliberation rooms. We'll welcome them back at the quarter hour, so at 11:45 or 5:45, we'll have our jury back to share the winners. And in the meantime, I would like to welcome Mickey Hansen from Design for America to tell us a little bit about who won some of the fun events we had throughout the week. So our participation raffle and our media contests.
Hi guys, thank you for the introduction, Madeline. My name is Mickey. I'm a senior studying mechanical engineering at MIT, and I am also the studio lead for MIT's Design for America. We're a club that works on social impact challenges in the community, so that includes food insecurity, sustainability, and we iterate through the design process to help create solutions to those. So I have a presentation to show off who the winners are. Let me just get that set up. Okay, awesome. So to all the teams, I really enjoyed your presentations. It takes a lot of time and effort to do what you guys have done, especially given the virtual nature of the challenge. And that's also compounded by the time zone differences. So it was great to see your enthusiasm around making our campuses more sustainable. And I look forward to seeing what projects get implemented. As many of you know, as part of the media challenge, we encourage teams to submit photos and videos that showcase their team spirit and what they learned over the course of the challenge. So we were thrilled to receive all the team's photos and videos, especially again, considering the virtual nature of the event. Y'all came through with some fun and creative solutions. So here are the submissions that we received. And for the photo contest,
Eric,
and
what
this
was
is the
your
video.
favorite part of this competition?
My favorite part was working together with people from the MIT and learning how people, how the different studies work. So we have IDM engineers at the universities of Southern Denmark as well. So I really liked seeing how John, our IDM engineer, did and how his creative process was. So Anna, what have you learned in this work?
I have learned a lot about interdisciplinary teamwork and that everyone can contribute to sustainability projects. And because we're so many different backgrounds, we can, what is it called? See the project from a lot of perspectives. Chiara, what is your favorite thing about Danish people?
My favorite thing? Well, I would say that when Eric showed his talera that he was eating for lunch, that got me pretty excited.
They are good.
Yeah, they look pretty good, and I was starving at the time. But just learning about Denmark in general, and you know, Denmark being sort of a front runner in sustainability for me, that was really fascinating and super inspiring. So it's been pretty awesome working with you guys. Go team!
Likewise.
Yeah, so that was the video submission that we received. Thank you guys for submitting. Oh, let me go forward. And the winners are, so congrats to Team Waste Watchers and for your photo submission. And the other team, what was it, Green Inspire? So yeah, congrats to you guys. And I'll give you guys a second to like read this, I guess. But yeah, we initially had 3 individual categories for the photo contest, but since there were only team submissions for the photo categories, we ended up lumping that together into just one category for photo. So yeah, this is great. And these are the awards. So for the photo contest, y'all will each be receiving a gift card from a store of your choice. And for the video contest, you have a choice between gift cards and also 2 different souvenirs. So yeah, look forward to that. We'll be sending out some more information later. And yeah, we also hosted a bunch of fun social events and awarded participants with raffle tickets for attending. I want to take a moment to recognize everyone who helped host these events. And to thank everyone who came to them. We hope that you all enjoyed. So the winners for that are Søren Andersen and Ann-Kirsten Kessler. Congrats. So you all will be receiving gift cards as well. So please look out for more notifications about that. And we also, some of the social events we had a quiz aspect to them. And so the winners of the World's Best News quiz was Søren Andersen, and the culture quiz was Corvin Mester. So Søren, you got some extra raffle ticket entries that helped you win that raffle. And then Corvin, you'll be receiving a book from Space 10, which gathers urban projects from around the world that support the well-being of people and our planet. So that'll be an exciting read. Congratulations to you guys. And those are all the winners. So thank you guys.
Thanks so much, Mickey. And thank you again to the Design for America Club. We absolutely appreciate their partnership in this event, and I think it made it a really valuable experience. So thank you, Mickey. We have just a few more minutes until our jury rejoins us. So I'll let you all take a stretch break, go to the bathroom, get a glass of water, and rejoin us here in 5 minutes to hear who our winners will be. Hi, everyone. Our jury just needs a couple more minutes. We'll be starting back up just in 2 or 3 more minutes. Thank you.
Yes.
All right, thanks everyone for your patience. It looks like our jury is coming back together. Sure, it just took a little extra time to deliberate because all the projects were truly excellent. And I just want to say before I pass it over to them, how much I truly enjoyed hearing all of your proposals and ideas, and also seeing the collaboration and how much you were able to accomplish together in this very short time, just echoing the words of my colleagues so far. So with that, I think I will hand it over to Kinga to announce our runner-up prize.
No, guys, thank you so much from the jury as well for presenting these pitches to us today. We really appreciate it, and I hope that you enjoyed the journey. We think that there are a lot of winners here, no losers in this round, because you have been working hard, and also across Atlantic. It's been amazing how much you managed. So, but we have to, as a jury, to pick one winner team and one runner-up team. So here it comes. We have chosen actually the team Green Inspire as the winner of the prize. So congratulations. And one of the aspects why we chose you guys was because the idea of this whole world fair, it's not something that we have heard before. So we appreciated really the out of the box and innovative thinking. We also think that it could have a great potential. We would really like to encourage you guys to work on the feasibility of it and how it would actually look like to implement it. But the whole idea to connecting the world and get this knowledge out, we really loved. So the global aspect was really cool. And also that it can be quite student driven. We appreciated that as well. So more work on the feasibility side and how this actually could work in practice. But we really appreciated the idea and this whole World Fair aspect of it. So congratulations. And then we also have a runner-up team, and we have actually chosen the team Free Cyclers or Free Cycling. The first team, even the idea is very simple and basic, but we really appreciated it because it's so relevant to our current times, you know, using each other's stuff, but also we like the idea of maybe repairing and not so much upcycling. We thought that the upcycling part would require a lot of logistics, but if you think about maybe having repaired some of the stuff that's broken on campus with amazing technical and engineers that who are very good with their hands, and they could actually repair things and get into this repair movement, combining that with the free cycling and the social aspect of the project, we really appreciated that, and we would encourage you to move on and work on the implementation of that. So congratulations, but all the other teams, we really appreciated your presentations, and we really hope that this will not discourage anybody, but actually encourage you to work on with your ideas. And then at last, I would just like to say that I think the network that you have gotten out of this working, you know, cross-culturally, cross-geographically, I hope that you got a lot out of that. And alone this, I think, for the process has been invaluable. So thanks so much, everybody.
Thank you, Kinga. And we're not quite done yet. We still have the Danfoss Special Energy Prize for the energy track. And I'll invite my colleague Miha to please share the winner for that.
Yeah, thanks a lot, Madeline. So at Danfoss, we are actually looking in something which we call the energy track. And by that, we actually said that we would like to have kind of thermoeconomic studies or something about energy storage. But then at the end of the day, we actually looked more broader, looked at all the great contestants in the contest. So we actually said, okay, let's look from the other point of view. So which is the idea who has the biggest academic potential? Who of you actually came with the most close economic feasible model? So that at the end of the day, when you make a startup after this great idea, that we could actually put our money into it. With this, we actually came to a team called Green Farming. And congratulations, guys. And the major motivation for us behind this is that Danfoss is also looking into the vertical farming, into the farming options. And when you make a nice company, call us because we would like to produce some products for this.
so that we could collaborate in the future.
Fantastic. Thank you again so much to all of our jury, all of our amazing judges. We truly appreciate what you've done to come together to find us 3 great winners here. And I just want to say all of you are absolutely winners here, and we really appreciate what you've done together. And we look forward to continuing to see what you do with the potential that you have here. So thank you for joining the Green Campus Challenge. Thank you for joining us for this final event, and have a wonderful rest of your day.
Thank you, everybody. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.